We're live, man.
Dang, man, live,
We're
huh?
live. We are.
Nice shirt.
Thanks, man. Hey, thank you for that.
Nice.
Yeah. Just everything up. One.
You calling your agent?
Yeah, just trying to. There you go. Of course, everything decides to screw around. Okay. You ready to go?
Let's do it, brother.
Hello, friends, and welcome to PS Sessions Volume 22. Joining me, dear friend of freedom. What's up, dude? Welcome to the Defining Moments podcast. How you doing, brother?
Fantastic, man. Dude, thank you for this opportunity again to hang out with you and chat with you
Hey,
again.
pleasure's all mine, my friend. Pleasure is all mine. How are things doing? How are things doing on your end?
Man, it's pretty good. My wife and I are diving into some cryptocurrency and coaching recreational soccer, different from competitive soccer. So it's a great step,
Nice.
great learning experience. Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right, man. It's like I said, it's been a hectic last few months. Challenge ourselves with doing something we never done. So from the podcast into some crypto, into different investments, and actually we've had a few really good guests come on our show um, recently. So we had Senior Chief, retired United States Navy Tom George, and we had Chris Fields. He was one of the firefighters that went into the Murrah building after it um, blew up in 1995, Oklahoma City building. And then we had Chris Plank. He's the color commentator for women's softball OU and sideline reporter for Oklahoma football. And then we also had Congresswoman Stephanie Bice on the show recently. So that was really good too. Yeah. Which one? Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I can see. Yeah. So is that the one when their 22 and 23-year-old respectively went on a trip to Wyoming, something like that? Yeah. No, that's it's interesting. It's quite fascinating how a vlogger caught the van, and then there's actually a 911 call, from what I understand, that this guy was hitting this girl or slapping her around. I don't know. That's what I've read, but I don't didn't do a lot of research into that. Yeah, I can hear you. But your feed is coming through, so I can definitely hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. You should ask one of your listeners if someone's listening, if they can hear you.
Yeah, can they hear me? Now I got the camera to work. That worked. That worked. Why is it always with the script?
It's all good, man.
Every time. Every time. Every time.
We can chat off there, no big deal.
Yeah, we can chat. I mean, we're still recording. It's gonna be a lot to edit, but hey, that's what it is. But I mean, has any of these stories happened to you? I mean,
No, I'm curious though. You know these people respectively.
yeah.
So, so let's talk about that. How do you know them and how long and what do you know of them?
Well, Brian I knew from middle school. Brian unfortunately knew from middle school, like 6th grade, going on, and it's it sucks because he wasn't usually this person. He usually just was not this kind of person, but um, over time, it was he got a lot nicer to out of like respect for the family. It's just I don't want to get into too much detail. Just out of pure respect for the family and everything. But um, it's just I'm trying to put into words per se of exactly how I feel. Well,
I can't speak because it's not raw emotions like obviously you have that I can definitely tell in your tone of voice, and I can see it in your facial features. And if you want to talk about this off air, we can talk about it off air. It's cool. I'm here to listen.
If it's the body. Yeah, I knew her a little bit. I knew her a very little bit, but from what I was able to get with from the people that I spoke to, they all said the same thing, and that's, you know, well, they all, there we go, now I got my computer to work. They all said the same thing, and that's, she loved everyone that she talked to. She loved everyone that she talked to, um, and it was just, it was hard. It was just hard for people to comprehend the fact that, hey, we lost one of our own. Like, we're, like, to understand the community that we have here, we're a tight-knit community. Small little beach town. And everyone knew everyone. Your kids knew each other, your parents knew each other, your grandparents knew each other, your dogs knew each other, for God's sakes. But I I'm not looking forward to the wake and eventually the funeral, because I I can't imagine how our town is going to be like. Um, for the next few years, it's going to be quiet. It was already a quiet town, but it's going to be more and more quiet than I could imagine. But it's it's going to be really quiet, to say the least. But I I I lost it when they found the body. I watched the press conference. I watched a little bit of the press conference, and then I turned the TV off.
Yeah.
I turned it off because I can't imagine. I can't imagine what the family's feeling right now. It's. I mean, obviously, not we're both not parents, not yet at least.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
just the fact that it hits so close to home, it hurts so much. But heartwarming in the end because she's no longer in pain. She's no longer having to deal with that asshole. And I don't know if you saw on Fox News at all, but I'm trying to keep it together right now. Um, when they discovered the eventual remains of probably Gabby, um, a rainbow started. And it is so heartwarming to see that I had actually a few friends of mine from high school, and they all agreed with me that was her. That had to be her. And she wore she wore rainbow shirts. She was a very full of energy. She had so much energy in her, and it's you usually don't want to see a bright soul be taken from us so soon. He's 22 years old. 22. 22. She was a baby. And God, it just sucks. It just sucks so much. But I mean, these whole last few months have been shitty. As you see, outside of the store, you see the divide in our society, and you've probably seen it firsthand. I mean, hell, you got people screaming "fuck Joe Biden," you got people screaming, "fuck Trump," you got people screaming "fuck everything," just because we can't get along. And people are so entrenched in their ideas that, you know, I don't know. It's a sad way to live right now.
Yeah,
But I don't know.
I
What do
get
you
it,
think of
and
everything
I feel like I understand where
going
you're
on
coming
with
from.
me?
Probably not in depth
I
as
would
far
love to
as
hear your side
the
of this
loss of your,
story. Is
for
I try to
100%
stay out of it as much as
friends, but
possible because it only
I mean
pisses me
that
off.
is a reality, and it's a different reality for you than it is for me. Of course, you're a friend of mine, so your situation for sure. And I'm glad that you reach out to me and text me and just keep in touch, because that means a lot to me that you think of me, and I appreciate that, man. So as far as the divide and the people yelling F Joe Biden or F Trump, etc. I, I, I troll through social media, and I see that, and I scroll right on by. Um, and honestly, sometimes I get a smirk out of it, because I feel like, to a certain extent, you have a job, a moral obligation to the your country. And of course, I don't know the depths of what's going on at surface level. It's not good. It's not a good look, right? Where the country is divided based on, nowadays it's mask, no mask, vaccine, no vaccine, um, politics, diversity, equity, inclusion, those buzzwords, critical race theory. You hear those all the time. And at the end of the day, you cannot control what someone else is spouting, but what they can control is how you react to it. You can't control your feelings, because they're feelings, and that's we all have them. But you can control how you react to the situation, whether you want to spout off and go off on them, or you can sit down and have a conversation and educate, right? You can do either one of those two things, and they're not really wrong either way. And the way I look at it, that's how I arm myself, is with research and knowledge and education. And if I don't understand it, then I'm going to ask. But don't start yelling at me, or don't start shoving stuff down my pipeline and say this is the way, when is it really the way? And that's where I question things. I ask a lot of questions, and I do get pushback, man. But you gotta be true to yourself, and you gotta be confident enough to say, hey man, look, if you want to get the shot, get the shot. You want to wear a mask, wear a mask. You want to get the vaccine, etc. Cool. If you want to talk about critical race theory, make sure you come with a lot of facts and a lot of stats to back that up, because I have a lot too. I can have conversations, man. I don't back down from them. You know. Yeah. So it comes to a point where you make a choice to either go into a restaurant that says you have to wear a mask, or you don't, right? That's what it comes down to. And it's sad, because that's a modern day form of segregation in my eyes. they talk about in the 1950s, 1960s, certain colors can't drink from a certain water fountain or can't go in the same restroom, etc. But now you got to show a vaccine card to go and eat, but you don't have to show a legit driver's license to vote. I mean, let's think about that. That's a big picture, right? Logically, does it make sense, man? Like, no. You Here's the thing: you have men and women who have fought for your freedoms, and you may not serve at that capacity in the military, but you can serve the United States of America in a different capacity. So you do have a voice, and you can stand up, and you can hold the line, and you can say, "Hey, educate me. Don't sit there and yell at me. Educate me." They fought for those freedoms, and you stand up and hold those freedoms to the people. So that's my outlook on it.
Yep.
Well, to me, we are done. This is a situation where
I just thought we were done with the whole segregation thing. I thought we were done. I thought we were done in the 60s, man.
extremists, right? You know what I mean?
Apparently not.
To me, we are done. This is a situation where enough, man. Stop. It's okay. It's okay to left or right. It's not because it's a Trump thing, it's because it's a way of life.
Right,
Keep
you know what I
it
mean?
great. Think about that.
It's okay to stand up and say, hey, dude, stop.
Yep.
It's okay to do that.
You know?
It's okay to wear a Keep America Great hat. It's not because it's a Trump thing, it's because it's a way of life. Keep America great. Think about that. Yeah.
Yep. I look at, where we were from a few years ago, just a few short years ago. We were on a right track. It may not have been the best track, according to some people, until what they didn't like. But in the end, if you look at everything, now I don't like to get political, but if I have to get political, I will, because I will. But in the end, we were on the right path. And then people just decided to say no, just because of a few mean tweets or because he's an asshole. We don't like this guy. We don't like Trump.
Yeah.
But it's a shame. It's a real shame. Because people are just, I don't want to sound like a dick, but I will. I mean, people become so sensitive.
Yeah.
People just become so sensitive
Congresswoman Stephanie Advice.
just because he's an asshole.
Right. And oil is
So
crazy
what?
high, natural gas is crazy high, which means prices
Yeah.
at the pump
Like, so
is
what?
crazy high, which means
No, that's interesting, Dan. And I told Congresswoman Stephanie Advice,
talk about
I make the statement.
President Trump.
I work for the energy sector, oil and gas.
Yeah.
Right. And oil is crazy high, natural gas is crazy high, which means prices at the pump are crazy high, which means materials are crazy high. The thing that you talk about politics and as President Trump is you look at American energy independence. The United States is our team. You and I, yes. And we want to play on Team USA.
Yeah.
So what can we do to make Team USA better? There's going to be times we have to make a sacrifice. For me, if oil is $45 to $50 a barrel, is there some profit? Yeah, is there a lot of profit done? Are people going to lose jobs? Yes.